ordinary people living in extraordinary circumstances. Over 2 million of them, the internally displaced persons of Nigeria. 95.3% of Nigeria's IDPs is as a result of the insurgency in the northeast of the country. Since the insurgency began in Nigeria in 2009, an estimate of over 13,000 people have been killed. Whole communities razed down, men and women captured by the group. Borno State has over 1.6 million IDPs, accounting for 77% of the total number. In Adamawa, there are over 262,000 and 195,918 in Yobe. Abuja, Nasarawa, Benue, Taraba, Gombe and Bauchi also account for a significant number of IDPs. In Borno State, the stronghold of the insurgents, the destruction caused by the group mars the landscape. The survivors are forced to flee their villages.
Da aka kore mu farkon fara haka mai gida na ya gudu a gida ya fita har yanzu ban ga yanda yake ba. Na biyu kuma ina da yara guda 8 haka na dauko su a kafa sai da muka yi kwana 3 a hanya kamun muka zo muka iso gidan nan.
Mazajen mu ba mu san ina suke ba. Wasu sun kakkashe mazaje sun yi yara mutane da yawa wanda suka kakkashe. Ta yanzu haka matan da na da yawa wanda ba su da maza, wasu da yawa wanda ba sa ba yaransu. Wasu zaki ga an bar yara da yawa ba baba.
An kone mana kasuwa, an kone mana gida, an kashe mana yaranmu da manyanmu.
Boko Haram ne ya kore mu muka zo nan, da kafanmu muka zo, da riganmu ɗaya.
Yara na akwai ɗaya gida suka ce, akwai ɗaya kuma ban san wurin da yake ba, mai gida ma ban san wurin da yake ba.
92% of the internally displaced persons live with relatives, friends, and in-host communities. The other 8% live in camps or camp-like sites. The living condition in the camps is squalid, with large families crammed into makeshift tents. A good meal, clean bath, clothing and other basic needs, a luxury they cannot afford.
Kaga wajen kwanan mu dole a samu mana kasa nan wajen a zuzzuba mana kasa a jara mana. Na biyu kuma a zo a ba kowa abin kwanciyar shi mai kyau intact, abinci kan muna samu sai dai miyan ne dai yana mana kasawa. Kamar aka mana kuka empty daya, wata ran ma mu samu kubewa daya, wata ran ma mu zauna da shi. To muna so ne karin kayan miyan ma ya ishe mu intact kamun koma zuwa gidajen mu.
The IDPs in this camp, the living condition is they need like more shelter. One, most of them they need to go back their villages. Two, most of them they are coming to us and telling us that they don't want to stay inside here because they want government to take them back to their communities.
10-year-old Fatima, her mother and 5 siblings fled their village in Konduga to the NYSC camp in Maiduguri. The whereabouts of her father, unknown. Like Fatima, many other children show an enthusiasm to learn in camp. their classrooms the shelter of trees. Of the over 2 million IDPs in Nigeria, 58% are children, and more than half of them 5 years old or younger. Many other children in the camps struggle to survive.
This violent fighting has triggered displacement of enormous magnitude. Right now we are talking of 2.1 million persons displaced throughout Nigeria, but specifically in the northeast. That is more than even the size of some countries. What we want the world to know is that even as mighty, as wealthy as Nigeria is, the magnitude of the situation is such that no matter how much they are putting in to solve it, there is still need for some expression of solidarity. These persons have been somewhat suffering in silence. And we, the humanitarians, we, the UN, have begun some time back, at least as of 2012, to organize ourselves, to put in place a few structures in full support of the government of Nigeria, which has made commendable efforts to tackle the matter. But as I was saying, the magnitude is such that it takes a lot of synergy. And so we are calling for that synergy.
Many of the women are either pregnant or nursing mothers.
Ina roƙa a taimaka mu. To kamar dai bisa abin da zan shayar da yaro. Zan ba yaro ya dan samu lafiya. Ni ma abin da zan ci na samu ƙarfin jikina. Saboda yaron din ba shi kadai bane, saboda akwai wayansu ma. Yauwa yara ina da su kanana su biyar suna nan.
Dandada Amadu is the village head of Gwalaga, a community in Bauchi that hosts IDPs. His community has been hosting the IDPs in their households since the insurgency began.
So as we receive those IDPs now, I'm sure that we distribute them together with my people in Gwalaga villages. They are staying house to house. So people handle them and keep them in their own houses. Some of them come from Meduguri, some of them came from Yola, some of them came from Gaza, some of them came from Yalwanda Razau, some of them came from Nasarawa State. So all of them, we gather them in our houses. So from there now we start thinking, then we start begging Allah that make Allah bring peace. If there is peace came, then we return them back to their own places.
We have the same culture, we have everything the same. And we know why they leave their houses. It's not intentionally. Most of them is due to this religious crisis and this Boko Haram issue. So that's why we say, since most of them, 70% of them are women and children, so there is no danger in women and children. So we only interview those that are men from age of 20 to 30 to 35. But those that past 50, we don't care. You know, they will not be a problem to us. When we receive them, we write letters to social welfare, we write letters to SEMA, we write letters to NEMA and other donor agencies like UNHCR. So whatever we get there, we call the households to distribute to them so that they take care of these people. And you know, as time goes, sometimes we used to preach in the mosque to get 5 naira, 10 naira from people so that we give to those who accommodate them. And then these IDPs also, they don't stay idle. They find something doing and helping. Most of the men here in Bauchi, I can remember, they want to farm.
This is our women's handwork. So this cap is a traditional one, everybody knows it. Our wives do knit it and sell it. When they sell them, they at least assist us in buying some food materials. So they sell them. This one is about 1,500. This one is about 3,000 or so. So if they sell them, we'll get something to eat and then buy another trading materials with the remaining balance.
Wata rana sai mutanen anguwa ka su dan taimaka mana kuma kin ga yanzu haka bamu da sana'a. Abun sana'a bamu da shi. Kin ga mu ta can mun saba sana'a. Yanzu haka akwai masu bukatan irin su keken dinki, su keken zubi, su injin markaɗe. Da yau muna aikin shaka a can. Wata rana omon da zaka wanke kayan yara ma zaka rasa. Hakan nan muna fama a garin nan.
This is Malam Adamu's household in Kwalaga. It has about 50 internally displaced persons, most of them women and children. They depend on their neighbors, the mosque, and international agencies for their food on a daily basis.
To shine kenan suka gudo suka zo nan gari. To shine kuma suka biyo ta wajena na amce su na karbe su. To mutane kuma makwabta kamar haka suna kawo mana dan abinci. Da kuma taimako kamar yadda kuke mana ana kawo mana da masallaci shi kamar wannan mai angonmu na Gwallaga na kai kuka na kuma shi kuma ya taimaka mana.
Boko Haram ne an kware mu muka zo anan. Kuma Allah ya sa Babulama ya ba mu ya je ya tambaya muka samu fili. Allah ya sa ya kawo mu suka aje anan. Wallahi sai dai mutanen Rekure ne an yi mun taimako ba wanda suka zo anan su yi mun taimako. Sai dai mu je mu sayar gumi mu yi aiki mu samu tarara kobo. In bayan haka shi Babulama shine ya je ya roko wani abu ya kawo anan din mu samu da yara mu. Wani yaro baya jin lafiya ma shi Bulama ya je ya roko wani shine ya kawo mu da maganin.
As their condition worsened, the United Nations Refugee Agency on 13 February 2015 declared a level 2 emergency for Nigeria's IDPs.
By the time I arrived in Nigeria, UNHCR had not yet made the decision to engage with internally displaced persons. And so part of my job from the onset was really to assess the situation and to recommend to my headquarters the way forward, a roadmap for Nigeria. One should understand that these are persons who have been somewhat taken out of their normal condition. And so they virtually lack every single thing, you name it, the basic amenities for women, for household chores, are things that become a sort of luxury for them. The daily feeding, the education, the access to their basic rights, such as the right to get treated if they are sick, the right to life sometimes come into play.
what are the activities the UNHCR is involved in terms of rehabilitating and giving relief to the IDPs?
We are working on training on protection for people to understand what is how to deal with IDPs in the crisis. Because, as you know, the IDP case is a new case in Nigeria. It's a new experience, and the capacity building is one of aspects that we are trying to push.
I started advocating for my agency to step into the issue of displacement in Nigeria, taking care of the preventive part, but also ensuring that we support Nigeria and the people of Nigeria to really take care of this issue, which was gaining momentum, if I should say. And so by then I requested that I be authorized to engage meaningfully with the internal displacement, and I be given the means to do so in terms of human resources, in terms of equipment, in terms of field presence. So at the time we are speaking now, UNHCR from 2 offices in 2012 up to actually 2014, last year, we are now worth 8 offices, including the branch office in Abuja, the sub-office in Bauchi, and field office in Lagos, which used to be there, and 5 field units, including the one in Adamawa. The 8 offices account for some 60 staff members, more than 60 actually, now on ground, to most of them, a good part of them, to take care of internal displacement in Nigeria.
The UNHCR and other 8 agencies collaborate to provide support for the IDPs.
UNHCR, within their short possible time of coming to Bauchi, establishing their presence in Bauchi, they have done a lot. They were even trying to overwhelm the others who are here for many years. Because you see, even the warehouse, our warehouse here in Bauchi, it was occupied by with UNHCR material, though the material is not meant for Bauchi alone. If you see the huge quantity of the material so far stockpiled by the UNHCR is commendable. Not only that, a lot of programs. You see, they even create more synergy between us and other international organizations who have their presence in Bauchi. They are prompted. They are trying to see that we don't have clash of maybe authority, or maybe at the same time two organizations engage in one particular assignment duplication. That is why they call for a meeting, coordination meeting, to see how we will strengthen our relationship as well as our coordination, so that at the same time, if you said embark on an educational program to IDPs, then let the others engage in protection instead of duplication. And it's very commendable, because they are they are the ones who are giving us technical knowledge on how to operate. Yeah, so it's not only cooperation. We have a strong, they were the ones who established this state humanitarian coordination.
As UNHCR, we are the lead agency or co-lead agency, because the sectoral system that has been put in place in Nigeria is such that every sector is co-led by a national agency and an international organization, most frequently UN agencies. And UNHCR is co-leading the protection sector which is our core mandate, as you know, and we are co-leading it with the National Human Rights Commission. And in that regard, we have established a monitoring scheme, which is spread out through 9 states plus FCT, whereby we have 314 monitors who are working daily to oversee the respect of the rights of the IDPs, to ensure that protection issues, if not prevented from taking place, from occurring, they can be solved afterwards. We train the government actors, we train the NGOs actors, we train communities of IDPs to ensure that they are fully involved in the protection actions of their own self.
Walk with me, talk with me, don't you leave me all alone. Stand by me and stay with me, 'cause I can't do this on my own.
Well, the song is really two major things. Advocacy. There are people who are living in different parts of Nigeria who are not aware of what the IDPs are going through. And they may feel that they have nothing to contribute or bring to the table. And we're saying, we want you to be aware. If it is just one person who is in the ID camp, all of us are there. That whatever the number is, wherever they may be, that we all need to work together to care for them, and also to ensure that on a permanent basis that they are rehabilitated.
The IDPs wish they can go back home as soon as it is safe. Back to their farms and back to school for the children.
Ko da wayewan gari in zamu ci shanu kowanne sutura zamu sha magara mu koma gida abinda muke so ba yunwa muke da shi ba ishin ruwa ba mun gode alhamdulillah mu fatan mu koma gida kawai shine bukatan mu.
Mu wanda muke kawo wanda suke local government headquarters suna da security, mu wanda muna jeji wanda dai ba yake da zama headquarter local government ba, to wannan wurin akwai shine za a dauka mataki akai sosai don ko mun koma ma kauyuka za su bi su kashe mutane.
An kone coci, an kone makarantu, an kone gidaje, yayin da gari ya lafa kuma za mu koma gida sa'anan a gyara muna wannan wurare inda za mu je mu samu hutu.
Idan sun taimake mu, sun yake su, sun kure mana su, sun karba mana garinmu, za mu koma.
And we, the humanitarians, we at UNHCR, we, all those who care, are there to remind them of that there is still hope, and we will ensure that we help them keep that hope alive, and we will support them as much as we can to ensure that the root causes of the crisis in Nigeria are brought to an end, are solved, and the consequences, including their being displaced, would also be brought to an end. They would resume a normal life, and we wish that Nigeria will gain peace, lasting peace, for lasting solution and prosperity for this country and the sub-region and further afield.
The UNHCR shelter project in Benue State for victims of communal clashes is a model that is being proposed as permanent solutions for the IDPs.
We know that UNHCR is building houses. To me, that's really, really, really important. Shelter is one of the first things you must provide for someone who has lost their home. They can't be out in the rain and in the sun, and no shelter, no coverage, no protection. They're not going to listen to anything you have to say until that is provided for them. So we're very happy that UNHCR is doing that, and we want to help out. We will go with UNHCR anywhere they want. We'll collaborate with anyone that wants to provide training for these women so that they are not just, it gives them a sense of self-worth, to know that they are not just relying on you to give them the handout on a daily basis?
The government and all the stakeholders are trying to copy what the UNHCR has done. It is becoming a model in this country, and this will go a long way in addressing the shelter concerns or the housing concerns of the IDPs. But more to it, it is very, very important that government steps up the school or the educational initiative to address the educational problems of the IDPs.
The shelter project is really a one whereby we believe that it can serve multi-purposes. It serves for protection, because if you want to protect a human being, the basic protection starts by having a roof over their head to protect them against natural elements and so on. And so for that purpose, we really treasure the shelter intervention. And this is what we started in Benue State in a displacement community, whereby working hand in hand with the communities, the receiving communities, and the authorities of the state, we have established a site where IDPs can find a shelter, a normal shelter. And this, the second purpose which it really serves is to ensure that the disruption that the displacement creates is mitigated, because as you may know, some of the IDPs, or even most of them, have had to move into communal infrastructures such as schools, health centers, and so on and so forth, thereby also disrupting the school system, education system, school years, and so on. So by providing shelter, appropriate shelter for IDPs, we also hope that this will free up the space that should be used for other purposes, including education of the children of Nigeria. The final purpose that the shelter operation will serve is really initiating or kick-starting the early recovery, initiating the solution part of the whole issue of displacement, because displacement, as one would realize, is a temporary matter. At least it ought to be, or it must be, temporary. IDPs who find themselves in a different setting are definitely in an abnormal condition, and so they should be brought back to normalcy. And this normalcy is the solution that they should be finding, and especially in Adamawa, where some of the areas where fighting was ongoing has somewhat abated. The condition has somewhat stabilized, and we believe it is just normal that we should accompany those who have found it timely to return to their habitual areas of residence, that we should accompany them with shelter intervention, so thereby offering them a beginning of solution for them to resume normal life.
The IDPs can only hope that the government, people and aid agencies demonstrate the will to help them reintegrate into society and make their dreams to go back home a reality.